Welcome to TWitWoW, the best podcast on the web today. I am John, that's my caller and commentary Ashton, and this is the weekly recap where we talk all things pro wrestling, politics, and pop culture. Let's get right into it with pro wrestling, with probably the hottest story that WWE's got going on, Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. Yeah, everybody's doing the Obafemi strut. It is the latest sensation to seize the nation, as WWE Shorts even put out a video, or WWE put out a short of the crowd this past Monday doing the Obafemi strut. You've got everybody from little white girls to grown-ass black men doing it. So Obafemi has proven to have wide-ranging appeal, which further cements to me that he is going to be the next top guy. I think Sean said it best when he posted that short in our Discord. He is a five-tool player, and I really love, that phrase that Sean used. So want to give him credit there. Before Oba even came out, Paul Heyman more or less did a thing where nobody's really been able to topple Brock Lesnar or get the revenge on Brock Lesnar. Talked about Goldberg, Undertaker. He mentioned Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, but by his WWE name, Dean Ambrose, which got a huge pop in the crowd, which surprised me, I'll be honest. Yeah, then Oba comes out, after Heyman had said, the power bomb that Obafemi had gotten last week, that was his WrestleMania moment. That was his WrestleMania. He would not be able to dominate Brock Lesnar again. Obafemi comes out. He has a stare down with Brock. Brock looks like he's going to F5 Oba at one point. Oba slips out and he clotheslines him over the top rope as the crowd again begins to chant Oba, in that kind of rhythmic way that they do. And Michael Cole kind of put the cherry on top and saying, we disagree with Paul Heyman that Obafemi is overhyped. And so, yeah, they are really building him very strong right now. I would say very well. That Mania match, I think, is going to have a lot of eyes on it. And yeah, man, I mean, you've been on the Femi bandwagon hella early. I remember I even posted his debut NXT match. So you and I both kind of have ties to this dude very early on. What did you think of this segment?
I do want to just give a little bit of credit here to Alex Foster because I think he was in on Oba long before any of us because he was watching. I don't even remember the name of the show, but the show that used to air after SmackDown that was not 205 Live but came after 205 Live.
I think
NXT
it was
Level Up.
Level Up.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, Alex was watching that show and he immediately caught on to how cool Oba was even on that show before he became the Oba Femi that we know of today. Back when he was still billed at 6'4", 275 instead of 6'5", 310, which is what he's billed as now. Yeah, Oba's amazing. He's fantastic. I love seeing such a wide diversity of people in the crowd doing the strut with him. That's so cool to me because you have this huge range everywhere from little like 5, 6 year old white girls all the way up to grown ass black men doing the strut with him. So it's like not only does it appeal to the kids, but it's not corny either. It's just so good, man. I love it. I love that he's getting not only this level of like push and exposure, but also that like it's connecting and that it doesn't feel forced at all because they did kind of slow play it before putting him up against Brock. Like it felt very much like there was a point that even we were asking like, what the fuck are they doing with Oba? Why are they fucking around with Oba the way they are? Because they kept just not putting him in big things like he wasn't in the chamber, stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I think that Oba might be the best handled rise or ascension of a talent in WWE since Ryback, and they fumbled Ryback hard once he reached that peak. So let's hope that they don't do the same with Oba.
I feel like Oba is five times the talent that Ryback was, just on the mic and aura and everything else. I think Oba's going to stick the landing, and I think the booking will hopefully stick the landing. I actually,
I don't
even though I
blame
really
Ryback
hate,
for the fact that they fumbled Ryback, but I do agree that Oba is the better talent.
I mean, I just think, even with as cynical as I am about WWE, and really just as much as I hate pro wrestling in general a lot of the time, I actually am confident they'll stick the landing here. I'm going to be honest, I didn't really watch anything else from Raw, nor did I care to. Did you see anything else from Raw that you would like to comment on?
Oh man, honestly, hadn't even thought about that. Let me pull it up. I know we got another Phil Roman interaction, which I'm really over that feud already. Um, over the Becky Lynch AJ Lee stuff as well. Um, Javon beat Grayson Waller with the super cutter that he does, the OG cutter, I think he calls it.
Yeah.
Um, there was the Seth Rollins thing with Heyman, where as soon as Rollins showed up, the police showed up to arrest him, and it looked like they were gonna get away. But then Heyman just kept talking his shit, and it led to Rollins assaulting Heyman, and then Rollins got arrested for that. And Heyman, had that big shit-eating grin on his face as Rollins was getting pulled out of the arena. That could lead to interesting places. I do think that they are going to be building towards just Rollins versus Breaker when Breaker gets back, assuming he's back in time for Mania.
Yeah.
I guess the worst case scenario there is Rollins versus Theory, which is really ugly, but I guess gets the job done for now.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe they
Bailey
would
and
even just run back Rollins versus Logan Paul. I mean, that I think would be better than Rollins versus Theory. But then again, what do you do with LA Knight? I mean, I personally don't care what they do with him, but like, he's been interacting with Division as well.
tag
So
team match
yeah,
Rollins and Knight versus Paul and Theory. I don't know.
that might be the best bet if Braun can't make it. But I'm thinking Braun's gonna make it. That's my tentative belief at this
That's
time.
definitely wishful thinking for me. I'm hoping that Braun's able to get back.
Yeah.
We did get a tag women's tag match. Bailey and Lyra beat the Kabuki Warriors, which surprised me because I really thought that they'd be wanting to build up a feud between Io and Asuka. You notice how Io has just disappeared from television for the most part. Like I know she's not completely absent, but she's never really like out in the arena, out in front of the fans anymore. She's only ever in backstage segments anymore. It feels like.
Yeah, she apparently had a backstage segment where she was comforting Kairi, so they might still be doing Io Asuka, but just like
Yeah.
through the heart of Kairi
Well,
Sane,
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. That
So
was kind of always the plan, as far as I'm concerned. I just feel like it shouldn't be on the back burner. I feel like that should be one of the more prominent women's feuds going into Mania.
yeah, no,
Um,
for sure.
yeah. Penta retained the title against Dom. That was cool. That's I think that's about it for Raw. I don't really have much to say.
Yeah, like we've always said, this isn't a recap show, so it's really only stuff that we cared about or watched and comments on. And so yeah, NXT
Did you watch
didn't really.
NXT?
I watched only 2 YouTube clips that I'd like to comment on. Johnny Gargano's back in NXT, and he won a gauntlet to challenge for the North American Championship, and I believe Miles Bourne is still the North American champion. So cool, I guess. In fact, it's funny because Johnny didn't even really win per se by being Johnny Wrestling. He was still kind of like moping around, and he even came out, and I'll give Johnny credit for this, like he's selling the story because he even kind of stumbled out to the ring, like his legs were like jello, like he hasn't used them in so long, you know what I mean? It's kind of like atrophied muscles kind of thing. And a whole gauntlet happened to determine the number one contender. And long story short, it comes down to Shiloh Hill and Johnny Gargano, but I think Charlie Dempsey pulls Shiloh Hill out of the ring, and him and other members of the Birthright, that faction that NXT's got going, they take him out. And then I think it was Candice that just pushed Johnny onto Shiloh, and he gets the 3 count. So it's going to be really interesting how they do a Miles Bourne Johnny Gargano matchup if Johnny is still like this. Like if at some point during that feud he snaps out of it and he's just able to be Johnny Wrestling. But that was something that happened. And then the only other thing that I cared to watch was like a little pre-shot kind of promo thing. Blake Monroe in her kind of bathroom, she's kind of taking a soak with the Women's North American Championship, like, oh, I missed you so much, whatever. Here's a knock on the door. She thinks it's room service. It is Tatum Paxley, actually, I guess
Nice.
channeling kind of Shining energy.
Oh,
And,
nice.
kind of peeping her head to the door, kind of got those crazy peepers going on. And
Here's
just saying,
Tatum.
exactly, and just being like, you have my championship, and next week apparently they're gonna have a face to face, and she said, and I'll take it back then or whatever. Just kind of letting Blake think about it, which I respect. Psychological warfare is very underrated. Mess with her mentally and then break her physically. I approve. And so that I think is essentially it from NXT that I watched. Did you touch anything from NXT this week?
No.
All right. I know just AEW Dynamite because that's Wednesday. All I watched was the MJF Kenny Omega interaction. It is amazing how little I care. I used to really, really like Kenny Omega back in the day, and now I'm like, it should be a solid match, but Still not really doing anything for me, but AEW fans seem pretty happy with the product right now. So you know what? I'm happy for you guys. You know, if you're enjoying it, great. That's what wrestling should be about. So good for you guys. Anything from AEW or TNA that you would want to talk about before I go to SmackDown?
Um, I heard that Zeta Steel was in a match with John Moxley this week.
Wow, that's insane. I don't know if I could YouTube something to maybe confirm that.
Oh, here it
Uh,
is. It must have been like a mixed match or like an intergender match. Death Riders versus Skyflight and Zeta Steel. Do we know who Skyflight is?
no, no clue.
Okay.
Never, yeah, never even heard of that name until just now, actually.
Yeah, it's mixed trios action. So it was Moxley, Daniel Garcia, and Marina versus Skyflight and Zeta Steel, and I don't know who Skyflight is. That's not the team name of um, Kevin Knight and Speedball, is it?
It might be. Again, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know anyway, but yeah, it's cool though that Zeta Steel's getting something to do. I'm a fan of hers. We are both fans of hers. Um, but yeah, I actually it couldn't have been Speedball and Kevin Knight because Speedball had a singles match with Rocky Romero right afterwards. So who the hell is Skyflight? I'm sorry that I'm letting my curiosity get the better of me, but I gotta know.
It's all right. I mean, figure it out. But yeah, the
Oh
promo was
shit!
okay.
Okay, it's
You got
Scorpio
it.
Sky. I don't know who else though was in the team with him because it's a big faction apparently. Skyflight is a faction. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay. So it was the Martins. It was Dante and Darius Martin teaming with Zeta on this match to take on the Death Riders.
Okay.
Top is that Top Flight? Is that what they called Top Flight?
Yeah, Top Flight should be. Yeah.
Okay, so just fucking put Top Flight in the goddamn. God damn it! I swear to God. Anyway, but yeah, so that was. I mean, that's cool to know. I saw a post from Zeta Steel on social media about how she had a match with John Moxley, and it took it got my attention. So I figured I would bring that up because that's really cool for her. But no, I don't have anything else to say um, about AEW this week. I just don't pay attention to it at all. So like the only stuff that I do see, and oh, you know what? Tangentially, I saw a lot of hype for the women's title match between Tekla and Mina on Wednesday. There
Oh,
were people
nice.
really
Okay.
hyping that up. Really, like I saw one person specifically in a separate Discord server that I'm in call it Mina's best match in AEW so far.
Oh, nice. Um, I did just want to let you know too, that Javaris posted a question in the Q&A section at 11:12 p.m. So if you
Oh,
just want to
cool.
jot that while we're doing
Thank you.
this, so that I don't lose track. Um, and yeah, I believe also when it comes to TNA, Super Blue asked our thoughts on stuff soon. Anyway, in the Q&A section, so we'll get to that a bit later. When it comes to SmackDown, um, okay, I just had a text message from my family.
SmackDown,
When I
I honestly, dude,
Yeah.
I gotta be real with you. SmackDown has done nothing but annoy the fuck out of me lately. Like, Jelly Roll needs to fuck off.
I think that could essentially encapsulate our review there. I mean, I don't really know how you could do much better than that. All I really watched was Jelly Roll beat Kid Wilson, Randy Orton destroy Matt Cardona, and then the segment preceding that with Matt Cardona kind of taking it to Orton. And the biggest thing that I watched, because again, this isn't a recap show, was Sammy win the United States Championship after a backstage segment where he kind of forearm trick and so it seems like they're kind of, and remember, Carmelo was the former U.S. champion, so we're either getting a triple threat, Mello, Sammy, Trick, or it is just going to be Sammy, Trick, and Mello, because I've heard he might just be on his honeymoon with Kalani, so congratulations to Mello and Kalani. But yeah, it's either honeymoon and we're just doing Sammy, Trick, or triple threat, Sammy, Trick, Mello. I'd be cool with either. Either way, I think Sammy is a transitional champion and Trick is going to be the new United States champion. That is
Yeah.
just my immediate gut belief right now. And
I
that's it
think,
for SmackDown for
dude,
me.
wait, wait,
Yeah.
wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Just back up a little bit. I do want to just say I don't understand why they felt the need to put the title on Sammy in order to go from Mello to Trick. Why couldn't they go from already babyface Mello to heel Trick unless they're going to do some kind of double turn with it?
And again, it might be because he got married recently and that could create a scheduling conflict or whatever. So
Wait, who got
that's
married
really
recently?
Mello and Kalani. They had a marriage.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe that's why they're doing Sammy Trick. We could still potentially get a triple threat, but I'm wondering if the honeymoon is going to conflict with WrestleMania. That's what I was saying
I
earlier.
just can't
Um,
imagine that Mello marrying a woman who is in the same company as him and understands how important WrestleMania is, that they would unanimously agree upon a honeymoon date around the time of WrestleMania. That seems so unlikely to me.
I don't necessarily disagree, but that's the best I have for you. So I don't really. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what they say. But
Did you
yeah,
hear
that's
the explanation given by BFAB and Meechin for why they turned on Rhea?
no, because again, I didn't watch any of that. I only watched the Sammy stuff, the Jelly Roll stuff, and the Randy Orton Cody stuff, and that was it.
It was
So,
nonsense. They basically said, "We work really hard just like you, but we don't get recognition for it."
well, yeah, I mean, we
As
didn't
if
really
the
expect
woman that they're
anything.
aligned with isn't in the exact same boat as Rhea in terms of like getting more recognition than she deserves. And I argue that Rhea deserves far more of the recognition than Jade does.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really expect a solid explanation, so that really doesn't surprise me at all. Honestly, I'm looking forward to that feud being over. I'm really disappointed because the more I just watch Jade Cargill stuff, the more I think maybe this was just a dud after all, and I wanted to believe that it really could be something. No doubt she has aura for days. I'll never deny that, but yeah, that just seems to be all there is at the moment. Um, so
Oh
yeah, I
yeah, I
guess we'll see
wanted
how
to
the match goes.
mention I think the air has kind of been taken out of the Drew Jacob feud for me already.
Oh yeah, we know that is another thing I heard. I didn't even watch it, but I heard it on your TV when we were together. They're going to be having an unsanctioned match at Mania.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't even think it's a matter of Drew just going back to babyface, although I think that would help. I think Drew just needs to take a few months off, honestly. I think he needs to be off TV, and then I think he needs to return in like a big way as a babyface to get that huge crowd pop. That I think could really reinvigorate him because Drew still looks like a mountain of a man. He still looks fantastic. I do still think he's good on the mic when he's given proper material. I like his delivery and everything else. I think he's definitely got a wit to him, and we definitely saw that in his early days of being heel. Jacob Fatu, I still think the world of, but I don't know. He feels kind of stalled. Like I was actually getting excited when it seems like he could have been in a WWE Championship match at Mania instead of us just. And again, I know I've said let's do it, and I'm standing by it because I'm enjoying the Orton character. But now we're just doing Orton Cody, and the problem is we're still prioritizing Cody. So yeah, I hope the match is good. But I just feel like both guys need to be. Well, I mean, Jacob just needs to be elevated to the main event, and again, I think Drew just needs time off. So, um, yeah, I would fundamentally agree with Foster. He said Drew's character needs to evolve. He's been the same guy for years now. Heel or face, he needs a shift. Um, and then Draven said, I think Drew is taking time off, but to film a movie. And see, I guess that counts, but I'm just looking for like actual time off. Be with your loved ones, sit on a couch, breathe, gather yourself. I don't really count time off when you're still expending energy and considerable energy at that doing another thing, even if the other thing is fun, because it's still a kind of grind on the body and the mind. But yeah, just anything that I guess gets Drew away from the ring for a while is a step in the right direction. Um, Anything else you want to add from SmackDown?
No, no, no. We can move on.
All right. Then I guess next section is politics. We're a little bit of a twist here this week. Not much to say on the international front, at least that I'm thinking of. And quite a bit to talk about on the domestic front. Most of it positive, actually. So this might actually not be so painful of a segment. First thing I want to talk about, because wow, I post a lot in the course of a week in the Iran channel. The IDF is reporting that the military might soon, or the IDF chief warned that the military is on the verge of collapse. This is what happens when you fight 7 different wars at the same time. Now, I'm being slightly hyperbolic, but I think even one stat said that the IDF has been fighting for 900 days. This is the bloody mouth of colonialism for you. They have been, obviously, you guys know the Gaza genocide, which really ramped up October 7th. Obviously, goes back much further than that, all the way back to the Nakba of 45. But, I'm just focusing on the immediate present the last couple of years. They've been terrorizing Syria. Now they're terrorizing South Lebanon, which, by the way, just so this doesn't go under the radar, they tell people in South Lebanon to evacuate, but they've actually blown up the bridge that would allow them to do that. So much like in Gaza, they've trapped Lebanese people to slaughter. Because this is what Zionism does, and this is what the IDF does. And yeah, they just want to make a greater Israel by seizing territory through the Middle East. Again, at the start of the Iran war, which Israel also has its hands in, Netanyahu said this has been a dream of mine for 40 years. And unfortunately, we have confirmed definitively, I think, that Netanyahu is alive. I never believed the rumors that he was dead, but one can always hope, right? Beyond that, here's a stat for you on the war in Iran. This comes from the Iranian Red Crescent. Over 92,000 civilian buildings damaged in Iran in U.S.-Israeli attacks. So a lot of civilian infrastructure, from residential homes to hospitals to schools, just utterly fucking destroyed. And obviously, that is just fucking heartbreaking, but I don't want to dwell too much on it here. Another report came out that the U.S. is burning through Tomahawk cruise missiles stockpile at an alarming rate. This would go for a lot of their supplies because turns out, wouldn't you know it, war is very expensive, even more expensive than the things that we would all actually benefit from, wouldn't you know it? So yeah, funding this war is going to be a real pain in the ass. That's why they're looking. I don't think they've gotten it yet, but I know last I heard they were looking for 200 billion extra for this war effort. And so you can just really tell just from those numbers how it's going. I think the biggest development today, now it's been kind of a weird day for me. I haven't really been able to look too deep into this, but I absolutely want to when I have time. There is still word potentially of boots on the ground, but it's seemingly unlikely. The geography of it would be horrible for U.S. troops and just logistically unsound. Doesn't mean this regime wouldn't do it. It has about as much strategy for military operations as I do, and that's really saying something. But it would just be a heavy, heavy cost for U.S. troops. But the big news is that the Houthis, which is the Yemenis rebel faction, they might be getting more involved because they try to strike on Israel. Now, Israel claims that the missile was intercepted, but both the Israeli regime and the U.S. regime are far right, and they will lie to you a lot. So again, as I said last week, it's very hard to sift through fact from fiction, the wheat from the chaff, and to really know what to accurately report. So just for that kind of quote unquote balance, Israel claims that the Houthi attack failed, but I don't think that's the big story here. The big story here is that they are wanting to get more involved. So that now makes Houthis, it makes Hezbollah, which is Iranian backed, and they're the kind of rebel group in Lebanon. And what makes the Houthis significant is they control the Red Sea. So it's bad enough that the IRGC and the Iranian government control the Strait of Hormuz, which again, a lot of global oil and other exports, generic drugs, all that other stuff goes through that strait. The Red Sea is another channel of operations. If the Houthis decide to close that, I mean, that's just intensifying the pain. And so, yeah, this is what happens when you don't think through a war. And really, this is what happens when you're bloodthirsty and you want war to begin with, because the correct war position is the anti-war position. So, yeah, all of these blocks really coming together and say, fuck the U.S.-Israeli axis, or the axis of Epstein, which even Iran calls it. So everybody knows what this fucking war is. It is underwater. With the majority of Americans, Republicans are still in favor of the war, which should tell you that they are just the most hawkish faction in the U.S. And last I heard, in Israel, the approval for the war is polling at 82%, which just shows you how deeply rooted Zionism is in the country. To say that Israel could use de-Zionification, I think, is an understatement. Is there anything else in terms of international news? Oh, I mean, Meloni, who is the prime minister of Italy, she lost a referendum on judicial reform. She tried to say the courts were becoming too woke, and Italians overwhelmingly rejected her. This also bears in mind that London has had massive far-right, anti-far-right protests. And so, yeah, it just seems like far-right politics globally is being rejected.
It's that extinction. What's it called? It's a
Extinction burst. The
Burst. Thank you.
sociological,
Yes.
the sociological theory that ideologies like these, when they seem like they have a lot of vitality and they're doing all this stuff, it's really the thrashings of a dying ideology and the
Yep.
last gasps.
Yep.
I don't know if I believe in that, but I
I
mean,
do.
signs like this are very comforting.
I
Well,
believe
that
in it.
makes one. Well, that makes one of us, and I'm glad one of us does. The only other thing I could report is that Israel did bomb two IRGC linked steel plants and two nuclear facilities. That is another big thing, too. Iran nuclear facilities have been struck, which is catastrophic. Obviously, for one thing, you don't want radiation stuff leaking into the soil and everything else, and just that kind of ecocide and that kind of pollution. God knows the Tehran oil facility that got blown up, they're going to be dealing with carcinogenic rain and other effects for decades. We really need to think about the scale of what this is doing to Iranians beyond like immediate death and stuff, which is already horrific enough. This shit is going to linger for a long time. And what's also troubling, if you care about absolutely global apocalyptic shit, is that Iran, which is well within its right to do, is going to retaliate from this because they've said, don't fuck with this or that energy structure, whatever. And Israel is, because Israel, especially under Zionist ideology, to be as crystal clear as possible, is absolutely homicidal and genocidal to any population that gets in the way of its goals. Again, what they're doing in Lebanon is absolutely horrifying. The U.S., I think, has also suffered casualties. I haven't gotten an updated report on that, but I can tell you, which was very interesting. JD Vance, apparently it leaked that he had a phone call with somebody, I think, in Israel or somebody like higher up connected to the war effort, and he was angry because Israel sold it as, oh yeah, this will be a quick regime change thing or whatever. So liars got lied to. It's amazing how it's an Ouroboros eating its own tail. And JD Vance, of course, is pissed because, for one thing, again, in America specifically, this war is deeply unpopular. But secondly, and Ashton was even kind of sharing this with me today, looking at odds and stuff like that. JD Vance is losing his chances to become president in 2028, provided Trump doesn't die before then, which I think is still hella likely with how unhealthy that man is. But JD Vance even knows, even if he got to be president this way, the dissatisfaction and the dissent and everything else, I don't think would go away. In fact, if anything, in some ways, it might even intensify. Like, he understands that this is ruining his political prospects, and this man has no sense of humanity or conscience or compassion. None of our ruling class does. He only cares about his own political capital and his own personal advancement. So yeah, he's looking at this and he's thinking, what the fuck? The longer this drags on, the more unpalatable my party looks. The more unpalatable my party looks, the more my prospects go up in smoke. Spare me a moment while I fucking cry. So that, I think, is essentially it. I'm probably missing some stuff, but I'll be honest with you guys, things have been crazy lately in Iran, and you can only keep up with so much. Again, I think the big thing, again, is what the Iranian Red Crescent reported, 92,000 civilian buildings damaged, and also the Houthis getting involved. The Houthis getting involved, if they decide to close the Red Sea and, kind of control that channel, you think pain's coming now. Jesus fucking Christ. But I even posted, do it. I mean, this empire has got to learn it can't bully whoever it wants. Other countries have autonomy. Other people have autonomy. If they don't like it, they can get fucked. So with that said, we can move on to global news. Just want to report very quickly news, I believe from yesterday, but I posted it today. The New Republic posted that CPAC host was stunned, as I guess he made a mention of context like, oh, if the Democrats win the midterms, Trump will be impeached, and the crowd erupted in applause.
Oh yeah, I actually
So
saw the video, and it was very specific. It didn't mention Democrats. He very specifically said something along the lines of like, "Who in here is ready for articles of impeachment to be filed?" And I think he was expecting a negative response, but they did cheer. And then he said, "No, no, 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 that's not right. Let's try that again."
wow.
And he said it again, and there was a very tepid, mild, bordering negative response the second time.
Well, I'll tell you, it's funny because on one hand, and see, this just shows you, though, to me, and I don't want to get too much in the commentary territory, I just want to report, but it does just show to me, like, the lack of class consciousness on the right, because on one hand, the war is polling very high among Republicans, but then you go to stuff like this, I don't really think they've connected the war and the economic effects because, going into domestic, even though it ties into the Iran war, gas prices still going up. And I saw from Kyle Kowinski, aka Secular Talk, that there were interviews done at like a fishery and a construction site. The fishery is definitely being affected by the Iran war because of rising gas prices. And they say that they may have to shut down operations soon. So that's affecting the economy right there. It's making people lose jobs. And then with the construction, that's just ICE. That's just ICE coming in and rounding up, migrant workers and stuff like that. And now projects have been stalled, I think, for like 2 years. Potentially, I could be misremembering that, but yeah, there needs to be that connection between the white supremacy, the warmongering, everything else, and the economic effects. Now, obviously, our concern should expand beyond the economic, but if that's the most immediate concern for a lot of people, you still need to make that connection because it's not good. That's why any kind of economic growth, any kind of truly beneficial stuff to the economy usually happens under democratic presidencies. I mean, research has borne this out. So I don't know if right wingers will get it. I have my doubts, but there you go. Big news globally would be that, or excuse me, big news domestically would be that, yeah, No Kings was today. Seems like the protests were fucking massive. And so massive that one of the founders of No Kings said that May 1st, we're finally doing a general fucking strike. I am thrilled about this. General strike should have happened ages ago. And even though May is still a ways away and I wish it was happening tomorrow, it does give people time to prepare. Stock up on food, get whatever shopping they need out of the way before they just shut it down, for May 1st. Yes.
Whoever made the decision, whoever organized this to happen on May 1st is a fucking genius too, because it is going to be a Friday and it is going to be so much easier to get people to agree to not participate in the economy, whether it be not going to work, not buying things, etc., on a Friday, knowing that the weekend is right around the corner. And like, if you need to like go grocery shopping, you can just do it on Saturday. You're gonna have all day to do it. And like, if you dip out of work on that Friday, you're going to have the weekend coming up anyway, so you're not going to have to worry about it, hearing about it until Monday. Like, it makes everything so much more likely to happen by having it organized on a Friday. It's like that alone, I think, is going to make it a lot more successful.
Yeah, I think May 1st is also May Day, which is like a workers' holiday and whatever, like
Yep.
recognition of like the labor struggle and everything else. So definitely symbolic.
Yep.
I would encourage everybody that's left of the Democrats to go out, raise class consciousness. I am cynical about these kinds of protests, and I've made my cynicism clear, but we have to see the opportunity in everything. And the opportunity is community building. The opportunity is augmenting resources. The opportunity is raising consciousness and educating. Take the opportunity for what it is. All future revolutions really do happen this way. So we need to get it out there. And as I said to Ashton today, even if controlled opposition, i.e., the Social Democrats, because that's what I really think they are, but that's a separate point, would win in the midterms in the election, the bigger victory here is I think that these protests and just this whole experience, this whole climate is rearing a future strong anti-fascist generation. And that, I think, is the big prize here. Because neoliberalism is not going to save us, and certainly this techno-feudalism the billionaires want will do the very opposite of saving us. It's trying to fucking exterminate and dispossess us. So, yeah, do what you can. If you went to the protest today, that's awesome. If you're donating to causes, awesome. If you're educating people when you can, awesome. Whatever you can do. We're all trying to go to the same destination. Everybody's path is different. So, yes, No Kings was today, and that apparently was huge. I'm sure I'll hear more about it over the weekend. I do just want to say, to go back to international news, because I did miss this. Cuba is still under a fuel blockade. It has been absolutely devastating. I think electricity has been a real problem. There's practically a near blackout in Cuba with only intermittent electricity going out. But I did read that China sent a shipment of 60,000 tons of rice to Cuba. Beyond being incredibly fucking awesome that China did that, this is the foreign policy of the future. When I've talked about the Chinese century before, it isn't just what they're investing in energy infrastructure, which is massive, by the way, and I'll always be in awe of it. It's the diplomatic maneuvers they're making. You know, when the U.S. left the WHO, one of the first things, that being the World Health Organization, for those that don't know, China stepped up and they said, you know, will be, you know, the leader that the World Health Organization needs. They're sending rice to Cuba. There was somebody that did an editorial like last month that was like, oh, China thought building infrastructure and things was going to make strong diplomatic ties. The only way to do that is bombs, which is one of the most unhinged things I've ever heard. And I'm me. No, this is the diplomacy of the future. Nobody's going to forget the stuff that China has done for them, and they're going to remember the bombs, the aid cuts, and everything else the U.S. did. The U.S. isn't going to be the world leader in a few generations. They are speed running, losing an empire. We are entering a multipolar order, that being that it's not just one country dictating terms to everybody else.
I wanted
And
to ask, did
China,
you mean to say generations? Like, is that the phrase that you meant to say? Because I'm thinking maybe even within a few, like 20 to 30 years.
I mean, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping it's 20 to 30 years. I just kind of hedge my bets a little bit, so I didn't mean to
Gotcha.
use that phrase, but I don't even necessarily fully believe it. I do think it'll be sooner.
Gotcha.
Just covering my bases, whatever. But yeah, China is going to be at the forefront of it. They absolutely are. And you know what? Honestly, I welcome it. I'm sick and tired of the U.S. empire being in charge of everything. So cool on China. And I'm hearing more aid. Even people in America are going to Cuba to send aid. I actually gave a little bit of money recently to a GoFundMe to give Cubans supplies. I will post that in the politics channel if anybody can donate. That would be incredibly appreciated. They're looking for a goal of $45,000. They're currently over 41,000, so making headway. Shout out to the anonymous person that donated $4,000, by the way. That's insane. And that just shows, you know, that really does my heart good to see people really trying to care about Cuba and take care of it the best they can, because it is a nightmare over there, guys. I mean, it's really disgusting what the U.S. is doing to so many countries. Which, speaking of, Kyle Kowinski also reported that the U.S. bombed a dairy farm in Ecuador recently. And so, yeah, and they said that what we're doing in Latin America, so you figure Venezuela, and they've already got, what was it? What was it? I forget the other country, because it's not Argentina, because we're aligned with Argentina because of Malay. Um, Gustavo Petro, whatever he's the president of.
Which ones did you mention already?
I only mentioned Venezuela when it came to Latin America. Um, but I know Gustavo Petro.
I'm trying to
Who
think because
is
I know that we're kind of in bed with El Salvador, but I don't
I
think
think Colombia.
Colombia.
Before, yeah, I just did the DuckDuckGo search, but even before the search came up, I remembered Colombia. They put out a warrant for Gustavo Petro. And you know, this is an older story, but just to give context, you know, Trump's DEA designated him a quote priority target. So make of that what you will. I think that's pretty horrifying. And he just really doesn't give a fuck. He is like, you know, he's even said in interviews, you know, do your worst. Like, I'm right here. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving Colombia. I'm not leaving my people. Hell, to go back to Iran. Apparently, the Iranian troops, are getting annoyed at how long it's taking U.S. soldiers to show up. These people are done fucking around. I'm telling you, we're giving up lives for no fucking reason. This isn't a game to these people. This is life or death. Meanwhile, our soldiers are fighting for billionaire pedophiles that want more oil and fucking resources and territory. Yeah, good luck. Good luck, because Latin America, the Middle East, again, these people have been terrorized by the U.S. for decades, if not even longer. And this is the end result. So, yeah, just very interesting stuff happening. The only other piece of global news, or excuse me, the only other piece of domestic, I keep getting those mixed up this week. My apologies, everyone. But there was a potential attack on a Palestinian activist based in New York. There was a planned assassination of, I am so horrible with names, Nurdin Kiswani by a Zionist extremist group. And police actually stopped it, if you can fucking believe it. I really wouldn't expect the police, especially the NYPD of all places, to do anything, but they did thwart the assassination attempt. But yeah, that just shows you the kind of Israeli extremism we're seeing, that this Palestinian activist was targeted for death. And there was a man charged in the terror group. He was charged with making Molotov cocktails as part of the plan to assassinate her. So thankfully that was thwarted, but it shows taking a very public, very visible pro-Palestine stance. It is risking your life in certain regions. So kudos to her and her courage. She's certainly far more courageous than I am, and I'm happy she's still alive. And this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous, but this is what we're dealing with. But again, the optimism, No Kings was a huge success. People all over the world are turning on, far right politics. They realize that it sucks. And something's definitely happening. If it's going to be meaningful come midterms or whatever else, that remains to be seen because every day is something new for better and for worse. But the people are not on the government side. And I think that's the most important thing to keep in mind right now. They are underwater, that being the Trump regime, on everything. And again, as I already said with other stories, Maloney losing her judicial referendum. I've heard, I haven't checked on this in a while, but Viktor Orban, who is the far right PM of Hungary, I heard he might lose his next election. People are waking up, and I think that is a beautiful thing to see. So I think with that, that is going to cover politics, unless you have anything that you wanted to bring up that I didn't think to bring up. Anything you want to share with the class?
Oh God, I thought I had something earlier, and now I don't remember it. So let's just move on. Honestly, it's not worth waiting
All
for.
right. If you remember at any point, feel free to interject. The
Yeah,
show's
I'm
pretty
sure I
fluid as
will.
is. But yeah, pop culture. Really can't speak of anything on my end separate from
Same.
Ashton here. I know we've been kind of we rewatched Paradise season 1 and we've started season 2. Um, just watching reality stuff with the family. I watched the Manosphere documentary hosted by Louis Theroux, or like made by Louis Theroux. That was incredibly depressing. It was a good watch. Don't get me wrong. I recommend people do watch it, but Jesus fucking Christ, men are so cooked. And yeah, so that was very informative. But nothing really new on the music front. Nothing really new on the gaming front. Just been kind of a blah week on that front for me. I don't even know if you and I have done anything outside of Paradise because I know we've been so locked in on that. Well, we did finish Cross season 2 this week as well. So that was another thing. Cross season 2 was really good. I think I enjoyed it more than the first season. But that's essentially it for me. What about you, bud?
Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty hyper focused lately on the newer shows that have been finishing up. Just being able to catch up on those. You mentioned Cross and Paradise already, so I don't even need to. Yeah, that's pretty much been our life over the course of the last couple weeks. I don't think that we've watched anything else actually at all. I mean, obviously we've been keeping up with St. Denis Medical. That's been
Yes.
really good the last couple weeks. My God, these last couple episodes have been a riot. So funny. Um, I know that once we get done with Paradise, we are gonna want to watch Shrinking seasons 1 and 2. We're gonna want to rewatch, and then season 3 ends on April 8th. So that should be fun. And then after that, we should probably be able to get into Invincible because Invincible season 4 ends on April 22nd. So that's, man. I will say though, we're not going to really have the time to do Shrinking when I really would like us to because I have a family vacation coming up starting next weekend. We are not going to be able to. Actually, yeah, we are. We're totally going to be able to still do a weekly recap next Saturday, and maybe even the following. I'm not sure. We're going to be going to Myrtle Beach from April 6th to the 11th, which, the 6th is the Monday after Easter, and then the 11th is the Saturday after that. So if we're going to be getting home on that Saturday, we might still be able to do a weekly recap, and that could be really fun because I always have fun with the recaps where one of us was gone for the week and the other one gets to just like fill in the blanks and explain what happened that week, and the other one gets to just react to it. And usually it's me doing that with you being the reactor, but this time we get to actually have the roles flip for once.
Yeah, I actually plan on being
Uh,
responsible that week and watching all the wrestling products at the very
oh,
least.
bud, you don't have
Um,
to do that for me.
well, I'll watch enough. I won't bother with AEW or TNA because I mean, fuck that, right?
Yeah.
But I'll probably make an effort to watch Raw, NXT, and SmackDown that week.
Well, that's
Um,
sweet.
Yeah, and then really, and then I'll try and distill it down to stuff that I think you would give a shit about. Because again, we are not a recap show, and I am not going to recap those shows
No.
for you. But I will just point out, like, hey, you might be interested to know, blah blah blah. Like for
Yeah.
instance, if something happened with Oba on Raw, of course I'm
Of
going to fucking
course.
tell you
Yeah.
about that, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I just hope it's a great vacation for you, and we'll have it locked down for you guys. And yeah, if you don't get back Saturday until late, well, we'll just do the kind of weekly recap where it's 2 weeks worth of recapping. I don't really think it would be that bad, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Getting into
Uh,
more of the pop culture stuff, though, I don't know if
yes,
you saw this, but Nintendo officially announced that starring in the Super Mario Galaxy movie that's coming out in just a few days here will officially be, for the first time in cinema, Fox McCloud from the Star Fox games.
very cool. That should be fun.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so cool. And everyone listening to this, I want you to put your spoiler earmuffs on if you do not want to be spoiled on Nintendo related game releases coming this year that they have not announced yet officially. That might not even be real, but a very reliable source announced recently. I'll give you a little bit of a countdown to even do it. Three, two, one. Nate the Hate officially announced yesterday that Nintendo is going to be making a new Star Fox game for the Switch 2 this year that might even drop as early as like June.
Very cool. That
He
should be
I
a
only
lot of fun. Yeah.
I only say as early as June because he did explicitly say summer, so I would assume more likely it's going to be an August thing, but still I think it's really cool that like for the first time in over a decade at this point we're getting a new Star Fox game.
Yeah, that is really awesome.
The
So I
last
hope
Star Fox game was Star Fox Zero on Wii U. And
yeah.
there were, I mean, the thing is, the people who played that game liked it, but no one had a Wii U. The Wii U is like the worst selling Nintendo console of all time. Um, so hardly anyone actually played it. But yeah, this is coming out for the Switch 2, and the Switch 2, I think, honestly, I think the Switch 2 already in less than a year has sold more consoles than the Wii U did in its lifetime.
Yeah, that's crazy. What about music for you, bud? Any music for you this week that you'd like to share or just same old stuff?
It's funny. We kind of talked about this before we got on. I've had "Waiting for a Miracle" from Encanto stuck in my head a lot lately. That's been one of them.
Nice.
I do just want to confirm, by the way, that the Switch 2 already has, in fact, sold more copies than the Wii U ever did. Kind of
Nice.
insane. But yeah, in terms of other music, again, I'm back on my '90s Eurodance kick lately. That's been something that I've been listening to a lot. Uh, there was a random like YouTube video that I was watching. I think it was like one of those like React channel videos where they do. There was like a musical age thing where they played a bunch of older songs, and every older song that you knew added 5 to your musical age, and then they played a bunch of newer songs, and every newer song that you knew subtracted 7 from your musical age. And at the end, you were supposed to like calculate what your musical age was, and mine ended up being like 48 years old or something like that. But in the process of that, I heard what I thought was a very familiar guitar riff, or I shouldn't say riff because it was acoustic, but like a guitar, chord. And I made a guess, and I turned out to be wrong, and it turned out that it was a song that I'd never heard before, and it led to me down a rabbit hole of trying to find what the fuck that riff or whatever the chord that I had heard, where I had heard it. And it turned out that where I had heard it was from a fucking Janet Jackson song that I forgot existed. So I rediscovered that, and I've listened to that probably about 5 or 6 times just this week. So that's a fun one. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much just been the '90s Eurodance stuff with the occasional, "Waiting for a Miracle" by Stephanie Beatriz from the Encanto soundtrack. That's about it.
Nice. So anything else from pop culture for you?
Games wise, been another one of those Pokemon weeks, but unfortunately, it's been more theory crafting than actually playing. I haven't really played much at all in terms of gaming this week. Honestly, truthfully, the game that I've been obsessed with this week hasn't even been like a proper like console game. It's been a mobile game on YouTube Playables. Cup Heroes. I fucking love that game. I used to play that game when it was still just an app that you could download off the Play Store, and it was just a fucking ad machine, and you just had to watch ads to do fucking anything in that game. And now that it's on playables, I'm re-obsessed with it because you don't have to watch ads to play it anymore. And so I'm like super into it again. You know.
Definitely, that's awesome, man. All right. I guess we'll just go to Q&A then, and we'll get right into Super Blues questions. How do you feel about OpenAI getting its ass kicked this week, and what happened with AI this week? Just to run it down, OpenAI is shutting down Sora. Disney is backing out from the OpenAI deal. That made me really happy. OpenAI faced backlash from their Pentagon deal. That also made me immensely happy. 11.5 billion in quarterly losses. I'm going to say that again. 11.5 billion in
With a
quarterly losses.
B.
Yes, there is a 207 billion funding gap and no profitability before 2030. And then the post that said this said the bubble is bursting. So yeah, OpenAI get its teeth kicked in this week, and cool, awesome. I think that's great. So yeah, really, for me, it's less fuck AI and more fuck AI corporations. If I because AI, I feel like with a lot of tech, it's here and you've got to make the best of it, and you've really just got to try and make it a net positive because you can't stop progress. And I do see AI, which we have to understand, generative AI is only one type of AI. AI is a broader concept than I think a lot of people grasp, even I myself grasp. I think it was always going to get to a certain place, right? I really like the Chinese model, what they did with DeepSeek, where they open source the code. I think when you privatize a lot of stuff and you socialize the losses, that makes for bad business and that makes for bad effects, no matter how promising the technology might be. So I'm all for AI, but I would like it open sourced. I would like, it done democratically by communities. Don't just push data centers on people, for just one example, right? And there are people in tech that actually have a sense of ethics that pretty much say the same thing. Like, we shouldn't be doing these massive data centers. We should be taking AI in a different direction beyond this fucking slop. Keep it out of art and this and that. Like, focus more on healthcare, this and that, where it could really make a productive difference. And OpenAI, which I believe is Sam Altman's company, really doesn't believe in any of those values, and they don't
Yes.
believe in those values when they partner with an entity like the fucking Pentagon, led by a guy who is so drunk on his own power right now, dropping bombs on Iranians, that they're like, oh, forget legality, we're all about lethality. That's pretty much something that he's actually said, by the way, Pete Hegseth.
Hegseth, yeah.
That yeah, fuck Sam Altman, fuck OpenAI. I'm happy they're losing, and I hope they continue to lose. Do you have anything you want to add?
Um, well, no, I don't want to add anything to this particular story, but you talking about OpenAI and ChatGPT made me remember another thing that I did this week.
Oh, talk about it.
I
What's up?
used ChatGPT to make an exercise plan for myself to try and help my conditioning.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
have like a whole like 15-page packet that I printed from ChatGPT of exercises that I can do to help improve my. I don't know if you know what this means, but lumbar lordosis, aka anterior pelvic tilt.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what that is, but that's really cool, man. Yeah.
Basically, it means that my pelvis is slightly rotated forward relative to what it should be. Um, so like it causes my stomach to stick out. It causes my butt to be a little bit like raised up and stick out more than it should. And there's like a little bit of like an arc at the bottom of my spine that goes inward, like towards the front. Um, and it causes hip pain and it can cause sciatica. Thankfully, I haven't really dealt with sciatica pain in quite a while since I lost a bunch of weight. But it causes a bunch of issues that are like mobility issues, and it is a posture issue, but it's a posture issue that stems from a bunch of kind of overlying muscle issues. And so the exercise plan that I'm on is basically meant to help to strengthen my glute muscles, my abs, and my hip flexors, which are the main things that help correct this particular issue of mine. And I'm hoping that correcting this particular issue will help for walking to become easier for me as well, because the ultimate goal is to be able to walk a lot longer than I do right now, because really the main sort of bottleneck for walking for me right now is actual hip pain. When I'm walking for more than just a few minutes, I start to deal with some pretty bad hip pain. And the funny thing is, ChatGPT kept on emphasizing like, do not just push through the pain. Like that's the way that you like make it worse, and then you won't be able to walk as often. And it's better to walk to your limit and stop, and then be able to do it again later or tomorrow than walk past your limit and then not be able to do it for a few days. So, ChatGPT gets a lot wrong, but it's also got a lot of good uses for regular old people like us who have a hard time kind of corralling information.
Nice. And that's kind of the thing, right? Because here's the thing. We should always be mindful, and I say this as well as somebody that like my big thing is I do buy a lot on Amazon. I'm trying to curb that when possible. Everything you do, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, and we need to be
Mm-hmm.
mindful how resource intensive anything we do is, including ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But that being said, and I'm just saying it for the purpose of honesty and just broadness, but that being said, I think we could get to a model that's less resource intensive, and I think it would help a lot again if you open source the fucking stuff and made it more democratic. But also that's what I'm talking about though when I talk about more productive, really ethical uses, because you're talking about making an exercise plan. I have a colleague of mine, I'm not going to name names or anything, but like he's used ChatGPT to analyze his mother's like medical tests. And ChatGPT has actually caught things that the doctor has missed, has actually made him understand what's going on with his mom better than the doctors have. I'm
Wow.
telling you, AI itself isn't bad. I'm not trying to be a technophobe, right? I'm anti-corporatist. I hate
Yeah.
corporations. I hate privatized fucking shit. Really, no, that's my business. Never mind. But yeah, AI itself isn't bad, right? We just need to take control of it. It needs to be democratized. The whole goddamn economy needs to be democratized. Fuck open AI. Fuck Sam Altman. And that was only Super Blue's first question. So to get back on
Wasn't
track,
there another guy who was like a Bitcoin billionaire? His name's Sam Altman Freed or something like that.
or you might just even be thinking Sam Friedman or something Friedman. Because I don't
Wasn't that
think
the guy
Altman.
that raised the price on a drug?
Oh, you're not thinking of Martin Shkreli, are you?
That's who
Whatever
I
that
thought you
guy's.
were talking about. Yeah. So
No,
who
no.
who is the fucking Bitcoin billionaire? Sam
Was it Sam
Bankman.
Bankman-Fried?
Bankman Freed. That's who it
Yeah,
fucking was. He ended up
yeah.
getting fucking convicted of something, didn't he?
He did. I don't remember what though, because I feel like that story is a bit old at this point. I thought.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why. When I hear Sam Altman, it makes me think of that guy. And obviously, they're different people, and they're not anywhere related other than just both being piece of shit billionaires. But it's just, yeah. Anyway, I apologize for the tangent again.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, getting to a question to a Super Blue, I already clicked on the cage match link. He asked, how do you feel about the results of TNA Sacrifice? He did give some context for some stuff on the show. Eddie Edwards made a deal with Order 4 to have Special Agent Zero attack Moose, and Steve Macklin ran into a super kick from Santana. It looked like Macklin suffered a legit concussion. The referee gave time for Macklin to recover, then she stepped in to end the match. Eddie attacked Mike post-match, but ultimately gets put through a table by Mike with a splash to the outside. So, yeah,
Uh-huh.
I heard about that finish. I'm gonna be
I
honest. I really don't.
saw, I saw the super kick, and either Macklin is an amazing underrated seller, and it's a really scummy work, or the doctors who cleared him of a concussion are even bigger scumbags and horrible at their jobs because he was fencing. And like, I know that there are a lot of guys who know that that's a thing and will use it and fake fencing to sell a concussion, um, just to sell him, head trauma in matches and stuff, and that it's like a work thing. And if that's the case, then hey, props to Macklin for the sell, but fuck TNA for the booking. And then on the other side of the coin, if that was legit, if he really did get kicked in the fucking face so hard that he was dealing with a fencing effect, and then he got sent to a hospital, and the doctors at the hospital said, no concussion, fuck those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's
Uh,
very
le-
clearly like you don't get the fencing effect without getting a concussion. That's like, those are mutually inclusive things.
yes. So just go through the results very quickly. Leon Slater retained against Eric Young. Cool. I'm a bit surprised because I was starting to buy into like kind of your thought process, well, Leon Slater's probably NXT bound, so he might drop it to Eric Young. But if he is staying in TNA for a little while longer, obviously that's the right call. AJ Francis and Kazarian defeated Elijah and the Hometown Man. Don't really care.
Who is the
Ariana,
hometown man?
I don't know. No idea. Ariana Grace defeated Danny Luna and Lei Ying Lee. Cool. I mean, it
Wow,
makes sense. She's with the
that is
birthright.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Order 4 defeated Jada Stone and Trey Miguel. Cool. It's about time Order 4 fucking won something. So happy for that faction. Particularly Ali and Tasha Steeles. I really like Tasha Steeles, so cool for her. Moose defeated Eddie Edwards. Cool again. Super Bowl already gave context. Mara defeated Elena Black. I didn't expect that, honestly. I expected Elena to win, so
Yeah,
cool.
same. Good for them.
Uh,
Props to
the
Mara. I
system.
hope she gets Knockouts title shot.
Yeah, that would be cool. The system defeated Jeff Hardy and Vincent. Apparently, Vincent turned on Jeff Hardy. That was the other context too. That apparently, what was Super Blue's follow up message? Oh yeah, Vincent looked up to the big screen. Matt Hardy was kidnapped by Dutch and pulverized into a bloody mess. The system seized control on Jeff for a roster cut lariat from Myers and a lumbar check from Alexander to win. Vincent sat idly by and kind of laughed at Jeff while Jeff was getting beaten down. So wow, sucks to suck, Jeff. Way to get betrayed. And then yeah, Mike Santana, Steve Macklin. You already said it better than I could. I think your thoughts better than anything I could offer. So that'll be that. Yeah, TNA, I'm glad I don't watch this. It just seems like it sucks and very little is for me, and the stuff that is for me, I can only tentatively watch because I can't hold out hope that the things that I like Order 4, will be booked very strongly.
By the way, the hometown man, I just want to remind us because I did actually say something about this last week and then we forgot about it. The hometown man is Cody Deaner.
That's right. That's right. I kind of blacked out because it was so horrible the first time you told me. Question 3 for both. Why does Tony Khan think breaking Roman and Hogan's title records is a something for Athena? 117 days to go until she passes Roman's. I don't even really think Tony is thinking about it that way, or maybe he is. And if he is, I mean, okay. Like, I don't know how the man thinks, mainly because I don't do that much cocaine, unfortunately.
He
But
actually
yeah,
changed
maybe.
this question, by the way.
Oh, he did change it?
The wording of it now is, how do you feel about Athena possibly breaking Roman and Hogan's title records this year? She's 117 days to go until she passes Roman. So that's
I
all
mean,
that he put now.
oh, okay. I thank you because I actually didn't notice until you said something. But it's all Marcus shit. It's all
Yeah.
kayfabe shit. I really don't care. It's the quality of the title reign that matters. Like there have been title reigns that last only a couple months that I enjoyed, but just because I enjoyed who was the champion and I enjoyed those defenses. There are title reigns that go on forever. That are another fucking bore.
I think I can give good
Yeah.
examples of both of those things. Actually, a good example of a short title reign that was fantastic was Mick Foley's world title reign,
There you go.
and a good example of a long title reign that fucking sucked was JBL's world title reign.
Well, there you go. So yeah, it's all kayfabe shit.
Also,
Doesn't
Triple
really.
H. Triple H had a couple stinkers in the early 2000s for world title reigns that were long and sucked.
Yeah. So I just think it's purely kayfabe shit, Super Blue. It only matters as much as you make it matter. It only has as much meaning as you put into it.
Exactly.
And I don't really put much meaning into it, so it's whatever. Um okay. Question 4. He wants a preview and predictions for Stand and Deliver. I believe I also opened this cage match link. So
Yep.
so we've
JC
got
Jane
Jane.
versus the winner of Lola Vice versus who's Gray? Oh, Kendall Gray. Okay.
I'm thinking Kendall Gray wins this, and I'm actually thinking Kendall Gray just wins at Stand and Deliver. So I'm picking her both to be the number 1 contender and to
Man,
beat JC Jane.
that would be really cool. But it's NXT, and I absolutely refuse. I'm gonna pick Lola to do everything you just said Kendall would do.
Fair enough. Tag title matchup: the Vanity Project versus 2 mystery teams. I'm just going to go with Vanity Project to retain.
It says Swipe Right will face the winner of the Birthright versus Los Americanos, and I think Los Americanos won that match. So Swipe Right's going to face that team. And I'm guessing the winner of that will be. Oh, there we go. Wait. It says it's 2 mystery teams though, or no, it's just 2 mystery people. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So they're
Yeah.
facing Los Americanos.
Okay, then I'm still picking Swipe
Retention.
Right.
Yeah, it's a retention.
Yeah. North American title match: Miles Bourne versus Johnny Gargano. This is a bit of a harder one for me to predict, but I do think Johnny Gargano is meant to be on the main roster, so I'm going to go with Miles Bourne to retain here. I think
It's
this is just to kind
weird.
of,
I
yeah.
don't know, like, I don't know if Miles Bourne is ever going to be on the main roster just because he's such an obviously blatant Randy Orton ripoff that I think they would eat him a fucking live. Um, but then again, Dominic Mysterio is a fucking blatant Eddie Guerrero Rey Mysterio ripoff, and he's over as hell. So maybe I'm just reading that totally wrong. But I feel like if you put Miles Bourne on the same roster or up on main roster in general while Randy Orton's still around, it would just be really fucking awkward. Um, so that kind of makes me want to pick Miles to retain, but why would you bring Gargano down to NXT for a one-off?
That is fair. So what do you think?
Oh, fuck it. There's nothing. There are no stakes on this, so I'll just pick Gargano to win the title.
Zarya versus Solruka. I'm going with Zarya to win
Zarya's
this.
winning. Yeah, she is.
Fatal four way: Joe Hendry versus Ethan Page versus Ricky Saints versus Tony D'Angelo. I'm actually going to go Ricky Saints to win this. I think yeah, they're ready for him to have his heel title
You
reign.
know what? Given like the 6 months that have been building up to this, I'm gonna go with Tony D to win.
That makes sense. All right. Let's see. One question from Javaris. Thoughts on TNA signing Ricky Sosa? I have no concept of who that is, so I really don't have any
Oh,
thoughts to give. Do you?
I actually have commented on Ricky Sosa in the past in this in our wrestling discussion channel. Um, so it was because at one point randomly DBK posted videos of some dudes that are wrestlers that I was unfamiliar with, and I made comments and I said, uh, Kuro, there was a guy Kuro, and I said uh, that he was really cool and that he had a lot of aura. And then later on, I said Ricky Sosa has considerably less aura than Kuro. He seems much more of a happy to be here type, whereas Kuro feels more fully in character to me. So, really, all the only thing that I really had to say about Ricky Sosa when I saw him was that he didn't really have much aura and that he seemed very happy to be here vibes.
All right. Two questions from Alex
But
Foster to wrap up
wait, wait,
Q.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, whoa! You're getting ahead of me here. Ricky Sosa, I want to say he's very young. Yeah, he's only 21. So he's 21. He's tall, young black man. I'm rooting for him. I want to see him develop and grow and become a star.
I actually did miss a question from Super Blue anyway, so I'm glad you actually kind of stopped me there. Question five: do you think Matt Cardona will learn his lesson after getting his ass kicked by Randy last night? No, he never will. He never will. So, no. Uh, all right. Final two questions from Foster. If you guys were feuding with each other, what celebrities would randomly be inserted in the middle of it, a la Jelly Roll for Codius and Randy? I'm only going to pick one celebrity. Ashton, you can pick as many as you want. I would say Sterling K. Brown, because I'm reminded how much I fucking love that dude rewatching Paradise with
Ooh,
Ashton and his mom. So, yeah, Sterling
nice.
K. Brown for me. Who do you got?
Um, man, I mean, I think it would have to be someone that we're both fans of, and obviously, I love Sterling as well. Um, God, who is an actor or another celebrity that you and I both mark out over?
J.K. Simmons.
That's perfect. Yes, J.K. Simmons. I love it. Yes,
All
God,
right,
and
final. Yeah.
imagine getting to hear him cut promos on either one of us backstage instead of fucking Jelly Roll.
Hell yeah. That would be
Rather than
fantastic.
having to hear, "This ain't you, Randy. This isn't who you really are." It would be, "This isn't you, John. This isn't who you really are." God, that's so
Yeah.
much better immediately just from the voice change. Holy shit.
There you go. Final question from Foster. Well, just final Q&A question and second question from Foster. Quick Trip apparently has mac and cheese, brisket, and chicken tenders. What's the most out-of-pocket thing that could be at a gas station that you'd be willing to try? Pizza. I would try a gas station pizza.
I have
The
never heard of
diarrhea
Quick
would
Trip
be
before, by the
legendary.
way.
Beg pardon?
I said I've never heard of Quick Trip.
Neither have I. Neither have I. But yeah, pizza because the diarrhea would be legendary. What about you?
I mean, I would absolutely try pizza, but like you mentioned brisket, I'm so curious what a gas station brisket would taste like. And to be fair, crispy crunchy chicken is in like a convenience store. It's not a gas station, but it's in a convenience store for me. Like where my crispy crunchy chicken is, it's in a convenience store, which is like gas station adjacent, I guess. So I would say that's pretty similar. So yeah, like chicken, like chicken tenders fried chicken, hot wings, all that stuff. I've already tried all that stuff from a convenience store, which again is like, gas station adjacent. Um, brisket, yeah, absolutely. I would probably give that a try. I don't like mac and cheese that isn't Kraft blue box shit, so I probably wouldn't try that. Um, I'm trying to. I mean, they list taquitos. I would absolutely. I mean, I've already tried a gas station hot dog before and enjoyed it. Um, Taquitos for sure. So yeah, that's like, there's hardly any end to where I would be willing to try gas station food. If I've tried hot wings from a gas station, good luck finding any food that I wouldn't be willing to try.
Hey, high spots and low shots. Low shot for me is Sam Altman because your company is getting absolutely fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go, asshole. Who's your low shot?
Yeah. Low shot for me is, man. Oh, this is fun actually. Jelly Roll, fuck him. Get the fuck out of here. You got RKO'd. Eat shit, bitch.
There you go. High spot for me, I'll give it to the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. And yeah, because they are absolutely kicking the shit out of the U.S., not just in terms of, the cost that the U.S. is having to hemorrhage both in human lives and dollars on the war, but they're also winning the propaganda front. I mean, the Lego videos that they have been putting out against the U.S. have been hilarious and definitely on point. The American public is with them on this, and they have been fighting the war asymmetrically. They've been making a lot of money controlling the Strait of Hormuz, which means they can fund their side of the war indefinitely, especially because they're mass producing cheap drones compared to millions dollars missiles on our fucking side. So yeah, I mean, I don't like the government, but they are the ones fighting the imperialist powers right now, and they're fighting a brilliant war that any really self-respecting military historian will study for decades. So they're my high spot. Who's your high spot?
High spot for me. Wait, my mic's on, right? Yeah, okay, we're good.
Yes.
High spot for me. Um, you know what? I'm gonna go out on an optimistic note. High spot for me is going to be the American people because of these No Kings protests being so huge today.
All right. Well, with that said, guys, this has been Weekly Recap. Be sure to leave a like as you file out, subscribe with the bell icon for notifications so you miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the search box. Follow us on Blue Sky and Twitch because we are the best podcast on the internet today. And we will see you guys again, I mean, hopefully for either more Marty Gold or Stardom next week. I know we didn't do Marty Gold this week
Oh,
because
dude,
the
we're
shows
gonna
were
have
off.
the Marty Gold / TJPW show at some point this week.
Cool. All right, so
That
we know that that's on the
TJPW
dock.
show is probably happening live right now as we speak.
Cool, cool. So we know we'll have that for you guys. Should be a fun show there when we're able to get together for that.
I'm
I'm
hoping that
assuming
we
like
can do the semifinals and finals of Stardom on Thursday as well. The
yes, that would
Cinderella
be great.
tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, hoping for a strong winner there. And if you're not in the mood for any of that, guys, because I know everybody, comes to us for something different, just be sure to come back here next Saturday for another weekly recap. Every Saturday, 10:30. Until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be good to yourselves and each other. Tune in and peace out.